Welcome to the PSR YouTube channel. Hey, I love YouTube. YouTube's awesome. It's awesome. You should become a YouTube creator. Totally. This video will get monetized. Yes.
Whoa, yeah. We're having lots of family fun now. Whoa, yeah. None of these are real guns now. Whoa, yeah. Also got a Patreon, the link is in description. Got some merch too, yeah, you know you wanna get some.
Thank you for being patient. I think we've stroked the algorithm enough for today. The video starts in 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of PSR. Today we got something very exciting and brand new from our friends at Keltec. Glorious, imaginative Florida men, Keltec. Actually, this thing is made in Wyoming, which is a change for Keltec because they opened a new manufacturing facility there. And it is the PR57, the hottest item at SHOT Show. I thought it was really cool. It's a really neat idea. It's a rotating barrel, stripper fed. Yes, you heard that right. Stripper fed, concealed carry 5.7 handgun. Super cool, super lightweight. We're gonna see how this thing runs. We're gonna put 200, 250 rounds through it, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. But first, I gotta thank the channel sponsor for PSR, and that is Aves Engineering. Aves has got all the slidey bits for your favorite DIY creations, including squirted glizzies, but also Mac 11 parts and uppers for Mac 11s, including all sorts of great Cerakoted colors. We love Aves because they like to get you railed in the best kind of way. I would never use PSR for 10% off your entire order from Aves. And thank you again to Aves for sponsoring this channel. All right, before we get into talking all about it and getting into the nitty gritty and kind of how to disassemble it and stuff like that and how it works, I thought we should just put a whole mag through it, see how it functions on the first mag. So let's do it. All right, so we've got our two strippers, not one, but two strippers, our clips on here. We're gonna insert the clip into the internal magazine, doing 10 and 10 and then adding one. So these got these little lugs here, and you can see where they line up here on the slide. So we're gonna pop this sucker in like that, and it fits in there. Look, I got my clips, got my Keltec with the clip. Aw, dick. And then to load it, you just push this thing down. Boom. And you got 10 rounds in there. Now let's do the next one. There we go. All right, I just needed to, oh, and we've chambered one. Oh, dick. Let me put our last one in here for 21 total rounds. And we're gonna drop our slide and give her shit. All right, I think I zeroed this red dot properly, but we're gonna try it out. We're gonna try the trigger. Trigger pull is, you know, it's double action, but here we go. Woo, took me by surprise a little bit. Oh, we have a malfunction. So, malfunction time. Let's see if we can clear the malfunction, how that works. All right. Oh, another malfunction. Failure to extract, huh? So, all right, we cleared it. Another one. Interesting. Now, I did not lube or oil this gun at all, so we might have to do that. And we're out. Interesting. So when I was zeroing this gun, I really only put like 10 rounds through it, and I loaded like, I think it was like 5 or 10 in, had no malfunctions, but it was failure to extract. So I say we lube her up a little bit, and see if we can get her to run right. Got a couple malfunctions on that first mag. Not ideal, but we'll take it down, check she's not loaded. Let's lube her up. Guys, quick break in the video to bring you today's video sponsor, and that is Sheath. Sheath is veteran owned and operated by U.S. Army vet Robert Patton, who came up with the idea for these boxers during his second tour in Iraq. If you're going hard at the range, sometimes, personally, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little chafing, especially with certain combat pants and when I'm getting sweaty, especially in the hot summer days. Sheath is perfect for that because it actually takes your balls and it tucks it in its own little pouch. And then you take your cock and you put it through the hole. So you've got your cock in one pocket, your balls in another pocket, and then your legs separate from that. And that is honestly the best way to go to prevent any kind of chafing. And it's actually quite comfortable. In addition to that, it makes your cock look enormous. I showed you my compensator. Please respond. So if you're tired of those old school shit-stained boxers, it's time to upgrade your package and switch to Sheath. If you want 20% off your order from Sheath, use code PSR, and thanks to Sheath for sponsoring this video. All right, we put a little bit of lube on her. Let's see if we get any different results here. If we get any of those failures to extract. All right, I think just need a little bit of lube. You can see her smoking now. Woohoo, baby. Yeah, so that trigger takes a little bit of getting used to, but let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Talk a little bit about the tech specs and what this thing's all about. All right, so let's talk about what you get in the box with your purchase of the PR57. This thing is super affordable. It retails, I think, like MSRP is like $399, but I found it online as cheap as I think like $329, which is awesome. 330 bucks for a 5.7 pistol that is super lightweight. We're gonna test the reliability over a few hundred rounds, but I thought we would just talk a little bit about it and the unique design that is the PR57. Out of the box, you get obviously the pistol. You get these two clips, literal clips. Now in the rap songs, they can actually refer to clips and be accurate. I got two clips in my Keltec, not magazines, they are clips, stripper clips. You load the 5.7 up here and you're gonna push it down, and that's what feeds this magazine, which is internal and is not removable in the PR57. Now the other thing you get in here is stickers. Love that. Got a lot of stickers in here. We got the owner's manual, which does provide quite a few really great illustrations if you have any questions about how to load this thing, because it is a non-traditional design for sure. Now the PR57 optic plate is cut for RMSC. I did notice that my Holosun 407K that I tried to mount here was giving me a little bit of issues because there are some rear lugs on this mount, which the Holosun 407K does not have. So unfortunately I couldn't mount that Holosun, but we mounted this Siley K-Toe or Cat Zero. It's been fine on there. The optic plate does come separate from the pistols, so you just screw that optic plate in here, which is provided and comes with the pistol. So that's what you get with the Kel-Tec PR57. I wanted to try it out with the optic because I think if I was going to conceal carry this, I would want an optic on there. Now as far as the weight of the PR57, this thing weighs around 13 ounces without the optic, which is just insane. That is insanely light. I measured this thing in weight next to my PSA Rock 5.7, and with a flashlight on this, it was under a pound. It was like 15 ounces with an optic and a flashlight, which we have here, the Streamlight TLR7. With that, it was under a pound still, and the Rock 5.7 with a flashlight was over 2 pounds. So that's the difference. It's half the weight of the PSA, which is very impressive, to be honest. Now on the TLR7, I have a Antimatter Industries little flap here. It's like a built-in gas pedal that goes on the light, and it's really neat because if you do holster it, it does have a spring tensioned little flap so it can actually fit in your holster. So it's really neat. I thought we would try it with and without to see if this helps with the recoil mitigation. Now there's really not a whole lot of recoil with 5.7, but since it's a lighter weight gun, maybe it'll have a little bit more snap to it. So we're gonna try this thing in a little bit. Now the coolest thing about this pistol, in my opinion, coolest thing is how it gets taken down. It's super easy. So you're just gonna press forward in this direction on the trigger and boom. That's as easy. You actually don't have to pull the trigger. Now while we got this off, let's check out some of the unique features that it has. So if you can see here, it's kind of like an AR-15 bolt lug situation. That is the rotating barrel lug. So when that slide comes back, it rotates about, I don't know, 2 or 3 millimeters. It twists right, and then it returns into battery and it seats itself into these lugs, which is really cool. And we have dual guide rods and springs in here as well. So the recoil spring is a dual recoil spring situation, which is really neat. This slide is super light, and I just think it looks quite different the way they did it. The finish has kind of got this like metallic sparkle to it. I don't know, I like the aesthetics of this gun. I think it's really neat. It appears here we have like an FCU similar to the, I won't even say the P word, but similar to the SIG pistols. I believe this is like a chassis, so the grip is actually a chassis and not a firearm, because the serial number is engraved into these rails and this fire control unit right here. So in that way, I believe it's closer to the design of like a chassis like the SIG. This does have a hammer here on the back, so it is double action only. The trigger pull is actually quite good for double action only. It's not as bad as like your double action only like SIG 226, for example, or some of those Berettas that are double action only where it's like a 10-pound trigger, it feels like. It's not like that. And of course the magazine is right here and you can feel the spring in there. I've found that in a pinch, if I'm just, you know, doing a couple rounds, it's probably going to be easiest to just load it from the top while the slide's open rather than messing with the strippers. I mean, sometimes you have to mess with the strippers. If you're blackout on a Friday night, you may be messing with the strippers. But in this case, sometimes it's just easier if we're loading 5 rounds just to put it in there like that. I do like this aggressive kind of checkered stippling here. It is pretty nice. Down here, you actually have a loaded magazine indicator. The tab will come down, letting you know that the magazine is loaded, which is a neat feature. So, Keltec. I know a lot of people have varying opinions on Keltec. One thing that Keltec does is that they always think out of the box with all of their firearms designs, and I think this one I really like. And let's just show you the rotating barrel. So to put this thing back on, so you got to just put that slide on and lock it back. We're not assembled yet, because if we release the slide, it'll still go forward. So lock it back, and now we're going to press the trigger forward again. You'll feel that click, and now we're on. Now, anytime you rack the slide, it always locks back, because it's going to lock back on an empty magazine, and the magazine is empty right now. So that's one thing. So if you want to kind of like rack the slide, you got to depress your slide release. I'll show you the rotating barrel before we move on here. So there's that rotation right there. If you can see it, it's just a couple millimeters of rotation there. Out of battery, in battery. So it's just a very slight rotation, but I believe this is probably going to contribute to a little bit of a reduced recoil. I don't know what the length of this barrel is, but I can guess it's probably about 3 inches. Maybe not getting the maximum velocity of 5.7. You're talking 21 rounds in here, which is pretty damn impressive. And for most carry situations, that's really all you need. If you need more than 21 rounds, shit has hit the fan for you, and that's not good. If this was 9mm and it had a stripper fed thing, I would say no, because you'd probably maximum in this grip be able to fit 15 rounds. Not ideal, but 21 rounds, that's pretty damn good. I say we shoot this thing a little bit more, see how it feels, get a few more rounds under it. Let's do it. So in wanting to compare the next kind of cheapest option for 5.7, you've got the Ruger 5.7, but also this PSA Rock 5.7. This is one of the early ones. I got when it came out. I haven't done a review on it. I just kind of wanted one because I thought it was cool. This is much larger and heavier, a little bit longer barrel, 2 more rounds capacity. So really not that much more capacity, but weighs twice as much. I just want to see how it feels. And then we're going to shoot the Keltec afterward. Feels like it's got maybe a little bit more snap to it, honestly. But let's shoot the Keltec right after, just to see how it feels. Oh yeah. That's wild. This is such a lighter gun, but the recoil feels less. That is crazy. That has to be the rotating barrel that's creating that sensation. Whoo, baby. Damn, that's really shocking, actually. The PSA, I mean, cool gun for sure, but the PSA being heavier, you would think that it would have a lighter recoil sensation because you just got more weight, but this actually feels less, like it's less recoil than this, because this is just standard blowback, and then this is rotating barrel, kind of got a little bit of a delay to it. which is super cool, and you can feel that. It's a totally different sensation. This has got a little bit more of like that kind of just that blowback bite to it, whereas this, it feels much smoother, which is just wild. The barrel size on this thing too is actually wild. Like that's the PSA barrel and that's the Keltec barrel. Very thin on the Keltec. Instead of using the stripper clips, to be honest, like in a situation like this where you're just at the range training, honestly, just loading the magazine by hand is how I would do it, and that's what I've been doing thus far. You can load the stripper clips just to have them ready, maybe in your pocket if you really, you know, got into the scenario where you had to reload. I guess you'd want to have them ready, but doing it by hand is honestly the easiest because it's like an AR mag where you just press down and they feed in super easy. It's really tactile click when they go in. Since we did the lubrication, we haven't had any malfunctions, so I think it was kind of due to that, and you know, that does make sense. You probably want to lube your gun before you fire it the first time, but we did want to try it out without any lube or anything and just straight from the factory. So if we get any more malfunctions, I will let you guys know. All right, now we're going to close the slide and we're going to see how this Antimatter Industries wing holds up if we can lower the recoil a bit. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh baby, that did help. I can definitely tell that helped. Boy, it's super smooth. It doesn't lend itself to being like a super fast gun if you're just gonna like hammer them, but we can see if I could do how quickly I could do a full mag. I don't know if I brought my shot timer, but we can try. Quick little break in the action to let you know, I do have really neat patches, laser cut ones, available from Bad Attitude as well as my other merch. The link is in the description. Bad Attitude department, great company. Thanks guys. Okay, let's see how fast I can do this thing. I'm just gonna go low ready and then give her shit because I forgot my freaking timer today. Try to put as many on target as possible, as fast as possible. And beep. Not the easiest trigger. You really just got a finger fucker, eh? Just ka. I don't know if I could go faster than that. It doesn't lend itself to like being able to absolutely dump rounds really fast. But I think I was on target for most of those. And I was able to keep the recoil down. That's one thing about this pistol for sure. It excels in low recoil and just able to get the shots on target. And that's awesome, especially with this wing from Antimatter. All right, next up I want to actually see visually if we can notice the difference in the recoil impulse between our rotating barrel PR57 and our normal blowback 5.7 Rock, and do 5 rounds each and just see if we can tell which one shoots flatter, or just see if we can see that barrel rotating. It's going to be 180 frames a second, so it's not super slow, but let's see what they both look like in comparison. So you can see in the slow motion, I would say this shot a little bit flatter, especially with the aid of that Antimatter wing, than this guy. This thing is double the weight. Keep in mind, double the weight without an optic. And so this, you know, it still shoots really flat, but personally, the recoil impulse on this, I prefer. Now you also saw in the trigger, it is a little bit harder to reset that trigger. It's a longer travel than this striker fire trigger, which is quite nice on the PSA. So a little give and take with the design of this versus this, but I really do like the way this shoots. It's super flat. One thing I will say about these two guns is the trigger on the PSA, in my opinion, is better. It's a striker fire trigger, whereas this is a hammer fired double action. So double action I don't love, but for being a double action only trigger, this is actually quite good. I prefer the striker fire mechanism and the feel of the striker fire guns, but once you get used to it and the long travel there, it is not so bad. So this is the trigger pull. It's very interesting sensation. So I'm gonna let you hear this. So that's just kind of the initial take up. Then you start getting some resistance. You're pushing, it hasn't fired yet, and you get to a wall right around here and break. Now listen to the reset. Let's see if the mic can pick it up. So you think this is the reset because there's a little sound. Not the reset. This is the reset, that little click. Now you're reset and the wall is all the way back there. It's not the cleanest, nicest break ever, but this little click, which you can feel with your finger in the gun, is not the reset. That is the reset. So there's your PR57 trigger. I want to, in our last little test here, I have some actual FN spicy ammo, and we're gonna try to send this thing out to the gong at 100 yards. It's the actual FN57 ammo, and it doesn't have lead in it, which is kind of cool. Another little point about 5.7 ammo, it's getting cheaper. So if you're worried about the price of ammo, it's understandable. 5.7 is not cheap. Say what you want about the ballistics of it. There's all sorts of arguments online about whether or not it's actually a viable cartridge. It is getting cheaper. I think I saw a box of it for like 20 bucks for 50. It's not 9mm prices, but it's also not terrible in terms of price per box. This is Federal, I believe. You can get all sorts of different 5.7s. You can get different rounds, different loads, but that's a good point as well. All right, let's see if we can stretch this thing out to distance. All right, so we got some very nice special FN ammunition here. We're gonna try. I really don't have a ton of this, but for this video, we're gonna put a few rounds through this Keltec. So we've got the SS197 SR ammunition. It's actually got a 40 grain projectile. It's a Hornady VMAX. You know, that's that good shit. And then we got this SS195 LF, which is lead-free ammunition, which is pretty cool, but look at the price on that. That's more than $1 a round. God damn. All right, well, we're doing it for you guys. So this is a hollow point, and I don't know if this is also 40 grain. It might be, but let's put the hollow points in, see how they fly out of the PR57 at distance, and then we'll put our SS197 in with the Hornady VMAX. See if we get any recoil differences. For the gong, at around 100, it's like a 3-foot wide gong, so I should be able to hit here. I'm a little off. Oh, I'm a little bit right. A little bit high. Can't tell if I hit it. Oh, I should be hearing that, but I can't hear it. I'll aim it higher. Oh, it's going where I said it is. Well, I can't hear the gong, so we'll go to one of the torso sides, which is smaller. All right, we're gonna go at about 60 yards here on this torso. See if I can get her. Oh, I'm a little bit to the right. I thought that's it, because there's a hit. Yeah, that's a hit. Oh, a little bit off. Oh, wow. Damn. Go a little bit closer up here. There we go. Oh, we do have a failure to extract the SS197 on the last round, but it did lock back, so.
Yep.
That was off. There it is. There it is. Oh, interesting. So with this SS197, we had 2 consecutive failures to extract on the very last round. So that is a little bit of information. All right, so that concludes our range day with the PR57. Now, this isn't like a 1,000 round durability burn down test at all. I just wanted to give my initial impressions and then shoot it a bit, see if we got any malfunctions. We had no malfunctions other than the very beginning, which we just needed a little bit of lube. And once we lubed her up and lubed the barrel and the rails, had no malfunctions. The SS197, the Hornady VMAX, consistently on the last round didn't extract for whatever reason, which is just an interesting quirk to it. But other than that, we had no problems with our function of the pistol, which is a great sign. Props to Keltec. It appears to be reliable thus far. Like I said, we almost put almost 200 rounds through it between shooting the B-roll and, you know, shooting these targets. So I would say that's good. I will let you guys know, as we test this thing more. I do want to try conceal carrying this thing because it is quite light. With that said, I'm curious, holster makers, I'm sure they're going to come out with conceal carry inside the waistband holsters for this thing. It would be sweet to get it with the TLR7 sub so I could, use this antimatter wing with it because it does help manage the recoil, and it is a very light recoiling gun. Now, it's quite loud, and flash from it is something I noticed quite a bit. You know, there's a lot of flash, muzzle flash, but that's the case with any kind of 5.7 pistol. You're gonna get that with really any of them, whether it's the FN or the PSA or the Ruger. You're gonna get that. I have heard the Smith & Wesson is also pretty good. I'd like to try that thing out too, but Keltec said, yeah, we're gonna make a 5.7 pistol, but we're gonna do it differently, which is what I love about Keltec. Approached it entirely differently than any other company, and I think you gotta do that in today's market to make a different product, not just the Smith & Wesson version of the 5.7 or the Ruger version of the 5.7. I think this is a really cool, innovative design, and I just think it looks pretty neat too. It's a little polarizing on the looks, but personally, I think Keltec, in this case, I think they nailed it with the design. One thing I do wish it had was it doesn't have a full-length Picatinny rail. There is a notch on the very front. It would be nice to get this wing and this, you know, TLR7 like all the way back so I could reach the light a little bit easier. If you have normal size hands, you should have no problem reaching it. If you had like an actual pick rail, that's one thing, that's one little critique I would say. With that said, a full-size light like a Surefire or TLR1 HL or something, that does fit a little bit closer and more flush with the trigger guard. The optics plate, it held firm. It's on there tight. No issues with it coming off, which is great. I think this is pretty neat. And like I said, I'd like to try to conceal carry this thing. Not my favorite trigger, but for a double action trigger, it's actually quite good. Compared to the PSA Rock, the Rock 5.7, just with that striker fire, it's got a better trigger. The rotating barrel lug system, super cool. And in practice, it actually, I believe, does reduce the recoil a bit and contributes to the lightness of this gun. So great job, Keltec. I like it. Keep up the key bumps and doing your weird shit, because I think it's cool. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today. If you wanna follow me on Patreon, I have the link to that in the description, as well as like the filaments that I use for my squirted projects. Maybe they'll design a squirted frame for this. It is a chassis, the way this is designed, so maybe some squirted Keltec enthusiasts could design a squirted chassis frame, almost like a Raider frame for this. That would be really cool. Until that happens, I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching another episode of PSR. Love you guys. Bye. Oh yeah, stroke it. Stroke it, oh yeah.